Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Light Sports Ramble. As always, I'm Troy Otradovic, joined with my co-host Evan Watallison, who actually made the trip up to snowy Lambeau Field yesterday, sat through the frigid cold, the blizzard conditions to cheer on the Packers, had some great views of some of the plays we're going to talk about today. So sit back, relax. As always on Monday, this is our Packer Recap. And Evan, for the Packers, we're going to recap the game, but Christmas came early. Because even though we lost, our playoff hopes are still alive, with the Lions losing, the Bears losing, which is going to leave a showdown at Soldier Field next week. Packers, Bears, winner takes all the marbles and goes into the playoffs. So before we get into the recap, I just want to know, I tweeted before, how was the experience? But for the listeners, your first regular season game at Lambeau Field, I know it didn't come out in a win, but how was the experience? Give it to me so I can relive your time yesterday.
Well, it was a very fun experience. It was my first trip, because I've been the family night before, which is a much different experience, so this is obviously different. But it was a fun experience. It was a fun environment. Crowd was crazy, as it always is from most of the time. There were a lot of Steeler fans that made the trip. One of the people I was with was a Steeler fan. A good friend of mine from California and her husband flew in for the game, and the three of us went to the game. We ended up going up the night before. The original plan was to go up Sunday, probably mid-morning to head up there for the game. We ended up going up the night before because they were calling for a big old snowstorm, and I'm sure everyone watching on TV saw the snow falling during the game. But it was a very fun experience. I wish they would have won, but what a heck of a game for my first game at Lambeau. So.
Oh yeah, it was. And I'm going to put the outcome to the side. I mean, it was a good game to watch on TV. It was a good game. I thought both teams played really, really hard. You could tell that they were playing with a lot of heart, a lot of passion, and it was an exciting game. A lot of things happened. And again, we came out on the short end. You and I talked a little bit in the pre-chat about some of the things that went wrong for the Packers, but this game really could have went either way. And it was just one of those games that, at the end, you're kind of sad that the game ended because it was fun to watch. It was an up and down battle, the way that I like to watch football games, and it was fun. So like we always do, Evan, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Just give the fans the recap of the game, how it played out, and then we're going to get into some of the things we saw yesterday that led to the outcome. But go ahead, Bud, take it away.
Well, the past couple weeks I've used a phrase to describe the Packer game. Past 2 weeks prior it was Jekyll and Hyde. This week it's missed opportunities. Packers left a lot of opportunities on the field. And you're going to talk about it during your portion about penalties. Penalties killed the Packers. Turnovers killed the Packers. That pick six that the Steelers had that ended up pretty much being the turning point of the game. It gave Pittsburgh a 10-point lead. I don't know if anyone noticed. I know a lot of people are probably getting on Flynn about it, but if you notice, Andrew Corliss missed the read at the line, and he missed. It was supposed to be a run. Flynn checked to a pass, and Corliss ran into Flynn while Flynn was setting up the throw on a quick out, which caused the ball to sail a little bit, which allowed the Steelers corner to recover, intercept it, and run it in for the touchdown. And just missed opportunities after missed opportunities. And it goes both ways because the Steelers had their share of missed opportunities. Roethlisberger missed on 3 plays that would have been touchdowns because they had their man beat. And that man happened to be Tremont Williams, who had been playing really well as of late. Did not have his best game yesterday. He got beat on a deep pass that set up Pittsburgh's first touchdown. And then 3 other times he got beat. Roethlisberger just overthrew through his guy. 2 of them were into the end zone. So missed opportunities for both teams, and Packers should have won the game. Lacey was going early up until an ankle injury forced him out. Starks was running the ball really well. Jones and Boykin were having really solid games, and just at the end didn't have enough gas at the end of the tank. Ended up having a false start penalty that warranted a 10-second runoff, and then what really TO'd McCarthy is apparently the officiating crew not really being on the same page as he's putting it. They waited till 3 seconds left before they allowed Dietrich Smith to snap the ball. And then Flynn ended up throwing it into a covered wide receiver once again when he had Jordy Nelson wide open if he would have looked at a second read. And that'll be something else we're going to get into as well. But fun experience at Lambeau, but very disappointing loss that got made less disappointing with the Lions and the Bears both losing.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was the one joy of me sitting in the man cave being able to flip to NFL Ticket. I got to watch the field goal that destroyed the Lions and probably ended Jim Schwartz's career as a coach in Detroit. I mean, I can't see him staying there. That's a different ramble, but you and I think, are both on the same page there, Evan. It was so great to see that field goal right down the middle. Packers still alive. You and I both thought the Eagles would take care of the Bears. They took care of them a lot easier than I thought, but that was great to watch. So, getting to where we're going to go, though, let's talk about the play of Matt Flynn yesterday, Evan. We talk about the pick six, and like you said, the replay clearly shows Quarles running into Matt Flynn, checking away, and so that caused the ball to do whatever. So maybe we don't give him the full blame on that one. We look at the fumble. People are going to blame Matt Flynn for the fumble that led to that go-ahead touchdown. I look at it from this perspective, Evan, and then you can chime in what you thought of the fumble. We got pinned deep after a good defensive stand, didn't do anything on 1st and 2nd down, put ourselves into a terrible 3rd and long situation. Got to give the Steelers defense credit. A coverage type, not a sack, but a coverage scramble. Matt Flynn realizes the time. Steelers are going to use a timeout if he takes the sack. He tries to pick up some yards. The only thing that I am kind of mad about is that, you know what? He probably wasn't going to get the first down, and he should have maybe just slid at that point and got the few extra yards to give our punter a chance. But I'm not going to fault him for getting out of the pocket, trying to run and see what he could do to get the first down. At the end of the play, a little frustrated that he didn't slide and he didn't protect the ball. But what do you think about that play, and are you blaming Matt Flynn on that fumble?
Well, I personally thought, and it's easy to, I guess it's easy to say this being a Packer fan, but I personally thought his knee was down before the ball came out. Now, if you listen to the referee when he made the, after he reviewed the play, he had said the ruling on the field stands. He didn't say the ruling on the field was confirmed. So obviously there wasn't enough evidence either way to determine if the ruling on the field was right or not. But I personally thought the knee was down. But anytime you're going up against Troy Polamalu, you have to do a better job of protecting the football, regardless if knee is down or not. Because you know how you make it easy on the refs? Keep the ball protected. That's how you make it easy on the refs. Protect the football.
Yep.
If he doesn't lose the football, there's no indication on if he fumbled the ball or not. The question would be if he got enough for the first down or not. But obviously there was a hold on the play, which the play would have came back more than likely, and they would have ran 3rd down again. But if he protects the football, they're just replaying 3rd down, or who knows what else. But that really hurt, because like I said, anytime you run into Troy Polamalu, he's going to try to strip out the football. That's his MO.
Yeah, and
it's like going up against Peanut Hill.
Yeah, and we had talked a little bit in the Packer in the Packer preview, and two teams protecting the ball was going to be one of them. We didn't do such a great job of it, key turnovers at key times. But, again, when we look at that, the mistakes, and we're still hanging in the game. The other thing about Matt Flynn's game, and this is frustrating to me, Evan, and we've talked about it a million times. I could really tell yesterday watching the game on TV, and maybe because I was watching for it, but I'd like to hear what you saw being live at Lambeau Field. Every time Matt Flynn went back, his head, and I'm going to say it in these terms, his head was not on a swivel. And what I mean by that is he locked into that number one guy every time, and I never saw his head move. Never saw it move, Evan, and it was very apparent the last play of the game. I don't care if people want to say, well, and I will, about the penalties, the false start. You know what? He had Jordy Nelson wide open, 2 or 3 steps. All he's got to do is hit the post. He didn't look away from Boykin because that's where he wanted to go. But what did you see in the stands, Evan? Did he check his progressions? Did he check his reads? Because on TV it didn't look like he did at all during the game.
I can probably count on one hand the amount of time that he did actually go through his progressions. It was that few. Like you say, numerous times he would, I think even before he snapped the ball, he would lock on to who he wanted to get the football to, and that's who he was going to through hell or high water. I'm throwing the ball here. I don't care who's here as a defender. I'm throwing it here. And he was throwing it into triple and double coverage quite a few times. He got away with a couple potential interceptions. And the touchdown catch that Boykin had, that should have been intercepted. Boykin, I don't know how Boykin got the ball, but he was able to catch the ball. There's another one that James Jones had that James Jones took away from the Steeler corner.
Yeah, just ripped it right out.
Just throwing it into coverage again, and Jones just took it away from him.
He just ripped it right out of his hands. It was, I saw the replay in slow motion. He ripped it right out of his hands. That ball was intercepted. Jones just was stronger and ripped it right out of his hands. So I agree with you. And so that's a problem, Evan. I mean, we're not going to get into it today, but we've got a huge game on Sunday. And, more than likely, and the way the Aaron Rodgers drama goes, another week of it, oh well, we're going to have to hear it. But my gut's telling me Matt Flynn's going to be the guy on Sunday again. And if he does that again, I don't care.
McCarthy commented today.
Oh, go ahead.
McCarthy commented today that they plan on making a decision sooner this week. So probably by tomorrow, they hope to make that decision if he can play or not.
Well, if it's going to come early for me, that doesn't seem like good news to me, unless he's that close. But if he's going to make it that close, what that tells me is that they probably already know that he's not going to be able to make it. But I'll tell you, I don't care how bad that Bears defense is. If he doesn't check down on his progressions are his second option, we're not going to the playoffs. I mean, he had some opportunities there, especially at the end of the game, to tie it up. And so I put a little bit of that on Flynn. But again, I'm not putting the whole loss on Matt Flynn. He did some good stuff. He found some guys, and he led the team. That we didn't give up. We got to where we had to go. We have to put our faith in Matt Flynn. He made a couple mistakes. We move on. So let's talk then, Evan, and you and I have talked about missed opportunities. And we were going over it. And today, I actually had a chance at work with not a lot going on with the holiday to actually do some more in-depth research, Evan. I bet you're proud of me on that one.
Very proud.
So it'll help us in this part because I'm going to go through some penalties, and then I'm going to get your take if I'm way off my rocker or if I'm still that idiot with an opinion and all that good stuff. But I'm looking right here at my list. 6 penalties that either stopped a drive that, maybe could have been points, or penalties that led to more points, or things that just cause certain things in the game to change momentum. And so I'm going to start early in the game, and these are pretty much in order. Early in the game, we've got a okay pass from Flynn to Nelson, first down. I'm sitting in the man cave, and I do my old first down. like that, and then I see the yellow flag, and I see Josh sitting 15-yard face mask penalty, and all of a sudden we're 3rd and 23, kills the drive. We have to punt. Now, I'm not saying that's going to lead to points, but we had a little bit of flow going there. We had started fast, like you said in the preview. That was a key to the game, and I thought we started pretty fast. But then that penalty took away a first down. So instead of 3 more downs, we got 1 play to get 23, and we got a punt. Then, a little bit later, I don't know why in the hell Marshall Newhouse is in the game, but he's in for what? 1 play, and he got a holding call. Now, granted, we only got a 2-yard run, but instead of a 2nd and 8 and something manageable, which we were doing okay at early in the game, now we're 1st and 20. 3 plays later, we're punting. So I know you and I were talking. Take the listeners back to what you did in the stands when Marshall Newhouse entered the game and how that play progressed, Evan.
As soon as I heard number 74 is reported eligible, I throw in there, why are they putting him in the game? This play's not going to go well. And then as I watched the play happen, and I think Lacey was the back in there, Lacey gets brought down. Before the PA guy even answers the play got in the play, I go, holding, number 74, offense. And, PA guy, flag on the field. And then you have the referee holding number 74 offense. Like, everyone in the section I was sitting in just kind of looked at me like, huh? I saw blatantly from right here there was a hole. And, he did it. Newhouse did have a nice block later in the game when Kuhn scored, but that particular play, Newhouse just did a horrible job.
Well, you and I have talked about this. I mean, maybe we're too hard on the guy, but nothing good happens usually when he's in the game. I mean, nothing good has happened.
Usually not.
And so again, here's what I'm saying. Maybe we don't score on that drive, but now we're 10 yards back. And it's 3 and out, and then it goes 3 and out again. And these things kill us. And the other thing that happens with those 2 penalties, even if we don't score, maybe we change the field position. The weather conditions were crappy. I saw a couple bobbled balls on punts. Maybe it takes a wild bounce. We get a turnover. We just kill ourselves with those 2 penalties. Then we move into the second half. And the Steelers are driving. I thought the defense came up with some good stops at certain times to get us the ball back. And I remember this drive. The Steelers are going down. Defense tightens up just a little bit. And bam, Raji retaliates on a good play, which would have been 3rd and 7. And we did an okay job on 3rd down.
4th down, actually. I think it would have been 4th down.
Would it have been?
I think the play you're talking about was 3rd down.
Was it 3rd?
It would have been 4th down. Steelers would have had a punt.
Yeah, I'll have to check the box score. It was 3rd or 4th. Either way, we're in a position there to not allow more yards. We give them 15, and guess how that drive ended up? Touchdown. So again, do you blame Raji? I mean, it was retaliation. The referee should have got it as offsetting, but they didn't see the first one. And we always know, Evan, in this game, they usually see the retaliation every time. I just thought that for this late in the season, a veteran guy, why are you doing that? Why? It cost us points again. And so there's another mental breakdown. I forgot to in the first half. I'm going to go back to the fake punt. Now, I'm not saying that they wouldn't have still got a touchdown out of this, and I'm not really going to blame Stone.
That was second half. That was the first drive the Steelers had in the second half.
It was.
I believe that fake punt.
So I'm going to go back
on that first drive, and it was 4th down, and then they ran the fake punt, and then they scored right after halftime.
I'm just going. That was before the Raji penalty. I have a little arrow here pointing down.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And I don't really. I can't blame Stoneburner. He's not used to rushing the passer. But you got to know that once the ball leaves, you can't hit the guy. And so they had the ball in the 26, a roughing the passer call, brings the ball to the 13, 1 play, touchdown. Now, again, I'm not saying that they wouldn't have scored a touchdown, but you got to make it harder. And so a special teams guy getting that penalty, maybe I can overlook it, but common sense tells me, look, you can't just hit somebody that doesn't have the ball, buddy. I mean, to me, again, another penalty that gave up yards to make it easier for the Steelers. Then another one is, believe it or not, I thought Corliss had a decent game. I mean, besides running into Matt Flynn, but he also had a holding penalty, Evan.
Giving him more credit than I am.
He had a holding penalty that we would have been 2nd and 6 after the run, and all of a sudden now we're backed up to 1st and 17. And guess what happened 3 plays later? We punted the ball one more time. So again, another holding call. And again, we can't get positive yards. And then another huge play in the game. I mean, huge. Nick Perry jumping off sides on the field goal. And that took 3 points away, gave them a touchdown. I mean, just this list itself, Evan, to me is so frustrating. I mean, these are things that we shouldn't be doing. If we want to even make the playoffs, we can't be doing this. So what's your thought on all the penalties? I just kind of went through.
Well, there's one.
Go ahead.
There was one penalty that really stood out to me yesterday, and that was the Packers forced the Steelers to kick the field goal. And I think it was 4th and 4, and then Nick Perry jumps off sides on the field goal, and they get the first down. 2 plays later, the Steelers score. If Nick Perry doesn't jump off sides there, the Steelers kick the field goal. They're up 3 with I think a minute 40 to go in the game, and the Packers can they got in field goal range with the highest kickoff return. They were in field goal range there.
That was a hell of a return.
And then all they need in that situation, they have timeouts left. I think they have 1 timeout left. So you have a timeout left. You're in field goal range. You can either win the game or you can always kick the field goal and send it into overtime. So to me, that was the biggest penalty that killed them overall because it completely took the Packers that had to score a touchdown to send it into overtime. So the penalties definitely killed them. A penalty by Nick Perry I mentioned. If name's escaping me, if Mike Neal didn't get hurt and leave the game, Mike Neal's in that situation. Who's to say if Mike Neal jumps off sides or not? And the penalty that you mentioned, they were all backbreakers. A lot of them were positive plays. And if Marshall Newhouse doesn't hold, or Corliss doesn't hold, Sitton doesn't grab a face mask, Raji doesn't retaliate, it's a much different game. And I'm interested to hear what they're talking about on Pittsburgh Talk Radio too all day, because Mike Tomlin nearly outsmarted himself.
Well, I'll tell you,
Sean Richardson, as much as I love the guy, Sean Richardson makes a tackle on the 1 yard line shortly after that missed field goal. Offsides on the field goal. Sean Richardson tackles Bell at the 1 yard line. Packers are then forced to use their last timeout, and there's a minute 30 to go in the game. And what does Mike Tomlin do? He goes for the touchdown.
Yeah.
If he takes 2 knees there, he pretty much runs the clock out completely, and the Steelers can kick a field goal for the win. And if the Packers even get the ball, if they even get the ball back with time left on the clock, they have no time to do anything. So I'm interested to hear how much heat Tomlin caught today in Pittsburgh area.
Well, I listened to it on the way home. I listened to it on the way in, and you're not going to believe this, Evan. I thought the same thing. As soon as they got the offsides, had the 1st and goal, I was definitely thinking we're going to see Big Ben take the snap, go to his left or go to his right, and hit a knee and run the time off the clock. No, that didn't happen, did it? All I heard on the way in, Evan, you're not going to believe this. All I heard on the way in was the debate about the stupid batted ball. About the batted ball. That's all I heard about.
That's the right call, by the way.
That's all I heard, though, and so I'm thinking to myself, get off of the call. You guys won the game. I mean, that's all I heard this morning was about the batted ball, and like you're right. There's other things that you should be talking about in this game other than that batted ball. And I don't even care whether or not it's right or wrong. That's all I heard at that point, Evan. And so...
And what happened to Mike Tomlin's idiotic call? What happened to why am I drawing a blank? Ben Roethlisberger missing 3 for sure touchdowns. That's the one thing they have a gripe with.
Yes, it's all I heard this morning. And I drive an hour to work. I drive 1 hour to work, and that's all I heard on the 2 talk shows I go to was the batted ball and that it was the wrong call and it could have cost him the game. That's what they're saying, Evan. Now, that tune may change tonight when I go home, when I put it on again, because the nighttime guys, in my opinion, in Pittsburgh, do a lot better job, and they're a lot more, and I don't want to say critical, they're a lot more real about the game. So it might be a different story tonight when I go home, which will be hopefully in an hour, hour and a half. But yeah, it's crazy. That's all I heard this morning was about that damn batted ball. I mean, it was crazy. I almost wanted to change it, but it was so hilarious I kept it on. And just I almost wanted to call in this morning, actually, as a Packer fan and talk to him. But I opted not to because I wanted to bite my tongue. I do want to say this, though. For those fans that have not been to Lambeau Field, and I know Evan was, you're going to get a kick out of this, Evan. On Sunday morning, one of the sports editors for one of the radio stations was at the game, had never been there before, and had called into the station. And I listened to the Steelers pregame on Sunday, of course, because it was against the Packers. And he had mentioned what a great experience it was to go into Green Bay because he'd never been there. The aura of the stadium, the fan base is great. The way the stadium is laid out. It was nice to hear that there were people that are from other cities that go to Green Bay and can realize that we do have a great football town. And so it was nice to hear it on the radio, him explaining his experience. So, for those listeners that haven't been to Lambeau Field, I'm not saying this as a biased Packer fan that we have one of the best venues in the NFL. It is just proven when other people go there. It is a great NFL experience. If your team ever plays at Lambeau Field, I don't care if you're a Packer fan, I don't care if you're a Patriots fan, you need to see a game at Lambeau Field in your lifetime because there is nothing else like it. And Evan is proof of that. Had a great time. It was there yesterday. It is a wonderful experience to be in that stadium watching a game. So with that said, Bud, just under 2 minutes, anything else that you want to leave the fans with today?
Just to go along with what you were saying, the 2 people I were with, they were from California. One was a Steeler fan.
90 seconds.
And the Steeler fan, he was commenting how awesome the stadium was himself, too. He's never been to Lambeau. He's out in California, so he's been to games out there in Oakland, San Francisco. And he commented and said the same about the stadium, too. It's just a remarkable experience, remarkable field. So that's all I got to say.
60 seconds.
So I just hope if Packer fans haven't been there and they get the chance to get there. It's an awesome experience.
Yeah, do whatever you can. If you've got an opportunity to get a ticket and be in that stadium, do it. To deal with the consequences later. I was actually still trying to get some tickets on Saturday night, Bud. There was somebody here that didn't go, and I was thinking, man, I could make that drive real quick. But I didn't. But with that said, everyone, we're going to come at you tomorrow. We're going to shorten the time up in the afternoon. We're going to come at you 2 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow due to the holiday being Christmas Eve, but we're going to have a great show tomorrow. We will talk to you soon. We'll see you at the next Red Light. Have a great holiday season. Be safe. Red Light Sports Ramble wishes you all a happy holiday.
seconds.